I've always struggled with churches and people who attend church that take scripture out of context. Simple example is in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, I believe, that it mentions about the head coverings, and that's where we get where Paul's talking about head coverings and about how the men should not wear head coverings and the women should when in church or praying and specifically. And that's of course where we get where the men remove their hats before praying. Most time remove hats when entering the church building. And the way I was brought up, and I think what a lot of people are, is the men remove their hats when they walk into a church building and when praying. But latter part of that same scripture, same passage, is that women should wear head coverings. And I don't see where any part in a lot of churches that is mentioned. And the part of taking it out of context is you use part of it, the men wearing head coverings, or men not wearing head coverings, but the women are wearing head coverings. And we can't be taken out of context. And I've seen older people literally yell at younger people for wearing a hat within church, but they're the same ones that are not wearing a head covering. The women are not wearing head covering. So I just think we can't have one without the other. You can't enforce or think it's one without the other. And you can think about culturally, maybe that's a little different. I know certain areas of the deep south, a man most time removes his hat when he enters any kind of building. You look at old TV shows like Andy Griffith or whatever, how it shows them in church and the men don't have hats on and women do. And if you're going to enforce it, then believe it wholly, but don't take out of context one part of the scripture when you're not looking at the other. And that's just a small example. I think, of course, you need to look into more of what Paul is talking about there, and I myself going to look more into that. But in general, just don't be taking parts of scripture out of context when you're not reading the full context of the passage, the chapter, the book, the background of what's going on. And of course, we as believers need to do a better job at doing that in general, is make sure we understand scripture.